Sure, item one, apologies for absence.
Susan David. Caitlin Joe.
Susan David.
I'm sure as well, he can attend tonight.
Oh, yeah, Joe's, yeah. There's no disclosure of interest, grants and dispensations, as far as I'm aware. Minutes, the previous ones have already been to full council, so there's no previous minutes, so there's no actions. So item 5 is the budget monitoring for the 3 committees. So I was just going to go through these committees at a time. Anywhere we're over or under budget, just a comment. So these were prepared on for the 31st of March. So the governance committee, you'll see 104 sort of stuff where we've underspent, because we've had vacant posts through quite a lot of the year really. So staff salary, staff NI, recruitment costs. That's right. Further down to us, no. 202, the service charges, that's the utilities, gas, electric, water and all the rest, which have been a lot more expensive this year than previously, so we'll spend on that one. And telecoms, 207, we have been putting new systems in, so it's cost us some money this year.
Sorry.
Hang on a second, Chair.
Phone
Is that your phone, Grant? It's Cat. Oh, your phone, Grant, is it?
Not Cat, Cat's phone is here.
Well, gone off.
That's my phone, eh?
No, it's not ringing.
Oh, no, it's on silent.
No, somebody's phone's ringing.
Yeah.
Did not hear it?
I thought we still.
OCD, just like.
Right. Where's the fine box, will
That's my phone, I'll stick on a fine one.
All right. And then down to fees and charges, 319, 311, 312. We'll spend all of those. We'll have had to consult solicitors and things this year, so that's the consultancy one. What else? Right down 502, civic expenses, town twinning. We haven't had any town twinning visits, so we haven't really spent much there. Remembrance services, RNLI really took that over last year, so. Oh, was that RBLA? RNLI. British Legion. And we haven't 506 and 599, we haven't bought any gifts or the contingencies. 9002, the investment account income. That's not a very good check, that, but we've had about 40,000 coming in. It's normally about 20,000. So,
Yeah, it's just been the way that.
yeah, so we've earned a lot of interest, but the value of the shares gone down, isn't it?
Value of the capital fund
Yeah.
gone down from the 500. But we get that good a return on the investment elsewhere. It's just coincided with, you know, coming out of a recession, the interest rates, because we have had a few years of very, very low interest rates. And once they start to go up by a percent or two, it makes a significant impact on our income. Yeah.
So we've got more money this year than we have last.
We'll come to that later. Yeah. So anybody got any other questions on the governance committee spreadsheet? Yeah. Yeah.
On the telecoms equipment with that, just under 6,000, I'm guessing, Martin, is that replacing all of the analog equipment, is it?
Yeah, we've gone, sorry, yes, we've stripped out the old equipment, which are 10-year-old. We'll put in, when we make telephone calls, we go over the internet, which is a cheaper way of doing it. When you phone up now, we've got an automated service at the front end to direct people to the county or to the Blyth Town Council, which is a terrific amount of resource. So the resource savings are, you know, every day, every hour, really. Plus, when people phone us up, they come in on we can transfer them to the county council on the internet, so it doesn't actually charge them any. You know, so we'll just transfer them. So it's
Yeah. And then the other one I had to share with just on the is that the 14,000? Is that just all like them printed individually? Is it for the entire Blyth?
It's them printed and distributed as well.
Yeah. And then the software license fees, obviously, that's all right, isn't it? The 7,000. Because I'm guessing that's for all of the computers and laptops equipment, getting this like, license renewed.
Yeah, plus all the email accounts, so all your email accounts
Yeah.
and service costs us money, yeah, everything like that.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, Warren?
Yeah, can I just ask a couple of questions about office costs, please? I'm delighted that we've saved 4 pence on the rent.
Yeah.
But when we look overall, it's certainly service charges has doubled. Is there any reason why that's happened?
That's all your gas, electric, central heat.
That's all your utilities, okay.
What else? Shredding paper and.
No, well, it's the increase, I mean, we've got a very detailed thing from Stephen upstairs, and it's just like in all of our household, really, the costs have gone shooting up in the last couple of years, and it's just hit us this year, really. We were protected a bit the first year, but we've got obviously the full impact this year.
All right. When you take into account rents and service charges and rates and all that, cleaning, etc., we're talking about around about 77,000 that we're paying out on an annual basis. Now, where are we now with the contract with Stephen Ray? Because did we have a rolling 1 year thing? Are we still on that?
Yeah, that's just staying as it is.
Yeah.
And he's quite happy with that because it's obviously the tenant we are, and the rent stayed as it is as well.
Yeah. Just on the service charge, and obviously Steve Ray gets all the gas, electric, water bills for the whole building. Adds them all up and is divided by the amount of floor space we've got, to say how much each company needs to pay.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah. Anything else on the governance committee? If not, I'll move on to the environment committee then. The first bit's the allotments. I know the water charge is a bit confusing at the minute because I know the officers put regular readings in, but the wave company doesn't always seem to charge the right amount. And some of the allotments are actually in credit for water, so it might look as though they haven't spent any money at all this year for water because they probably paid too much last year.
Can I ask a question on water? Then?
Yeah.
It's, I didn't know whether to ask it now or whether it's part of the decision report of item 6. The price that we're having for the estimate for the water being repaired from Bolton allotments, will that be anywhere near the actual cost of the repair? Have we actually had an estimate in from the water company or contractors or going to do the work?
Well, it actually relates to last Tuesday's meeting, Grant, when we actually opened the tender. Well, we evaluated the tenders in time for last Tuesday's meeting at the Environment Committee.
All right.
We put in we didn't advertise the budget, but we had it in our own mind from some indicative costs that would calculate that it could be up to 36,000.
Yeah.
The tender that we've accepted comes in at 28 and a bit.
All right.
So we're slightly under on our initial thoughts on that, but we're just waiting for the contractor getting back to us tomorrow with an exact start date.
Oh, good.
for that.
That's good. As long as I'm moving in the right direction with that, because otherwise the water costs will be phenomenal. Yeah. Thing we went from next year.
Okay,
Anyway, sorry to stop you there.
no, that's all right, yeah. Well, I'm still on the allotments really. The income from allotment rents is going to be a bit more complicated this coming year. Some people are going to be paying for 1 year's rent, some paying 18 months, and some will be getting a discount and things. So there is a separate sort of system for allotments, isn't there? But
It does. I mean, it's too late to amend the budget for 24/5.
Yeah.
But what it does mean is that we'll be collecting slightly less income, so the balances will be less than what we thought.
It's not bad.
Not bad.
I can absolutely guarantee you that's correct. Regardless of what you do, people will be giving you money just to prove me right.
all right, so anything else on allotment sites? No, not environmental services. The partnership with the county, although it looks as though we've overspent on that. We are expecting to get a rebate once it's all sorted out. But this is as of when this report was done, we'd overspent, yeah?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Play area renewal 771. We did about 243,000 in the budget. 103,000 of that was for the skating park, which is just going to roll over. And then we're doing the one at Open. We have also had some 106 million coming in for play areas. It's confusing. And we haven't down the bottom, the 899, we haven't spent any money on emergency repairs. And on the very, very last line, Environment Committee, the figure on the very right hand column is the wrong figure. It's just probably the wrong figure in there. 499.97. That one's right. Any questions, comments on Environment Committee? No. Okay, I'll move on to community developments. Not much to say on the planning and developments. Obviously, we're working on the neighbourhood planning, which was held up a bit last year because we couldn't get the money from the government to actually pay for the work to be done. And then over the page, all the events we've had this year have all come in under budget. Part of it would be raising money as well for stores and things. And we didn't spend all of our community support grants. I'm right at the bottom 1, 2, or 2. So we haven't spent as much on that committee either. But, any questions on events or whatever? Not on, move on.
The only thing I would say, Chair, going back to the previous meeting we've had.
Yeah.
We need to make certain that all of this stuff in this community development thing is in the plan. You know, there's a lot of good stuff we do.
Yeah.
And there was like, there was this plenty of room in that matrix to put, all of these things, all of them excellent,
Yeah.
and all of them
The
well
areas
used by people. So don't forget to do it.
You don't. Right, I'll move on then. The item 6, the decision reports. The first one, the outturn for 23-24, the ADAR, and the appointment of internal auditor. Do you want to take us through, Martin?
Well, it's split into a few parts, as the chair's just said. The first part on the accounts, you agreed to probable back in January. And the outturn is some 4.2% less than that. So it's within an acceptable limit. It's 59,000 described in the report there of the 59,000 to come about. It's further reductions in staff costs because of vacancies, the increased investment income that the chair mentioned. The Environment Committee, with increased expenditure there. That's because of the recent water burst that we had at Bowling, which meant that we then had to replace the whole system. So that was an extra £5,000 over the top. And further decrease in community development budget, which is mainly the grants that, we're budgeted to spend the whole lot, but obviously there was a big reduction there. And just further savings on events on how we've been delivering them and a little bit extra income.
Appendix A and B is good.
Yeah, that confuses them. So can I move item 1 of the decision report and appendix A and B?
Correct. Anybody got any questions on it at all?
Yeah, the question on appendix B, actually, just for my clarification.
Yeah.
Where we're saying we have practice level of reserve 400k, self-insurance of 350k.
Yeah.
Leaving us with operational reserves of 200. Somebody just explain that to me.
Right. Well, with reserves, there's no set figure that you have to have. I mean, some parishes have got a million, some have got 100,000, some have got £5. There isn't a set figure. It's just that for this size of authority, it's all recommended about the 400,000k be a reasonable sum to have. More than that, the self-insurance, this is if you think of all the assets we've got, all the play areas, the bus shelters, the seats, the litter bins, all the rest of it, there's none of them insured. So if they're damaged, we have to pay for them. We could insure them, but it's a horrendous cost for insuring a bus shelter and things, so local authorities tend to just say, no, we'll pick up the cost, whatever it is. And again, that's a figure I've plucked out the air, but it's,
There's a bit more science to that.
Yeah, yeah.
What we've done is in the asset register, we've got
Yeah.
all of the assets from the seat outside, you know, the entrance to your estate, the bus shelter to, you know, next year, the skate park.
Yeah.
So we'll put a replacement cost on those. We've had assets brought in, which the county said were worth a penny, but that's just an accounting term. So we've put replacement cost in. So for all of our assets that John's mentioned, the war memorials and things like that, we think that's to the tune of about £3.5 million. Now, talking to our insurance company, if you self-insure, I mean, you know, unless something disastrous happens, not everything's going to go at once. But it's fair to say that you should maybe look at a 10% pot. So if we've got £3.5 million, the 10% pot's in the order of 350,000. And we should keep, you know, if we had to, you know, if a play area totally got wiped out and you agree to replace it, that's £70,000. So that would come out of that. But then as a council, we should be looking to make sure we're topping it back up to that 350,000. So that's how that comes about. So if you take the government recommendations of about 25% for an authority of, because we're one of the 30 largest in the country. So for a large authority, we've got to look at operationally 3 months, which is 25% of your budget. We've got a budget of about 1.6 million, so that's where it comes to the 400,000. So that's when it drills down to having roughly £200,000 left for you to, you know, look at any new schemes that you want to look at. And that actually ties in with, if you remember the 7-year model that we put on the charts at the time. And that roughly ties in with that over the next 7 years. It might vary, you know, 150 to 250, but on average, you're looking at about a £200,000 straight line on the graph.
Thanks for that one.
Excellent explanation, Chair.
So, Chair, have we got more in the bank this year than we have?
Yeah.
Well,
I just have-
yeah.
I was just say about the budgets though, you know, you don't want to overspend here. You know, so you don't want to go above your budget.
That's true.
It's very difficult to actually hit the budget. So every year you're always going to spend, you know, which we're
Hey,
doing for
I'm
several years.
just-
Yeah.
I've never justified what I've said. All I say is that regardless of what you say, we've always got more money at the end of the year than we had the previous one.
Yeah.
That's, you know, hey,
It's very good.
and as you say, it's better than the other way.
Yeah,
We've
right.
always got more money.
Yeah.
So, you know, perhaps next year we need to think about using balances again and trying to get that right.
It was really looking at that 7-year plan we did, was that last year? Just
Yeah.
what the balances would be.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but they proved to be wrong, haven't they?
Yeah.
Because we've got more money in the bank this year than we had last, and that's the fun.
If you want to spend some, come on.
Yeah, I've got absolute faith
Mm.
in Malcolm and Joe.
Yeah.
This authority has been properly run from the day it was set up.
But it's really good that we've got that
And you
bit extra.
can't,
you
but
can
you
spend
can't
it.
help. I just think at some point there should be some acknowledgement
Yeah.
of the fact that if it's always going to keep wrapping up, we've either got to ask people for less or do some more.
We did this year. You asked people for less. You were on a rise this year, lower than inflation, so we asked people for less.
And there will still be more in the bank at the end of next year than there is this year.
All right, well, Grant's moved we accept the,
Anyway,
Yeah.
Chair, I'm quite happy to second that.
Yeah.
I'll second it, absolutely no problem.
all right, so the next bit three, the GAR. That's the annual governance and accountability return. Again, all of this, I mean, it's linked in with the internal auditor, sort of doing checks internally, and we've got the external auditor. But there's the document that we have to send off to the external auditors, and it's the one that we have to publish, so the public can come in and see things. So, I mean, the recommendation is the committee resolved to approve the documents listed in connection with the AGAR. And if we agree, that goes to full council, and then it will go to the external auditors. Any comments on that bit?
Move items 2, 3 and 4 and block, Chair.
Well, item 3 is the appointment of the internal auditor. Mike Slaughter is prepared to keep on doing that job, so I'm happy to reappoint him again this year. Just we have to, that's to be formally approved, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then if we move on, there's a lot of things from Mike Slaughter, the internal auditor. There's a letter there where he's saying he's happy with it. He hasn't pointed out any problems or any changes we should make or any other recommendations. There's all the checklists of the things he goes through to check. You know, he checks the books are done properly, all the invoices are paid, the right amounts, the VAT amounts right, all sorts of things. And he's got all these various forms that he completes to show that he's done this. Quite a lot of that, a lot of detail in there. And then the last two documents is the annual internal audit report. And then the AGAR itself, which is the formal document we're going to send off. Any questions on any of those documents? Internal order? No? No, okay, we're going to approve those. And then they'll go to full council. We've got some time.
But you did that decision report, Chair. I've moved them, so someone needs a second.
I'll second one.
That's all the different reports. There's no delegated actions I'm aware of. There's no other business. Date and time of the next meeting is the 11th of July at 6:30. There's no part 2 items. Thank you for attending.
Well done, Chair.
I'll please.